Hello all. How you guys doing?
Afternoon, sir.
All right. I guess everybody, the bus still loading. I only see well, technically I only see one person. Technically. Only one person is really oh, that makes two. Okay, good. I heard you guys were half dead after crit. That's
Yeah.
why I never see you in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So are the other students, are your other classmates still in the grave?
Possibly.
Oh,
So, what's the application you're using today?
it will be Illustrator.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nothing else to do in Smackers are open.
In the meantime, while we wait for everybody to come, we are going to need some files today. So I want you guys to go to the exercise today and download the class files, the exercise files rather. Design, computing, JM. All right, let me share screen. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Do-doot. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Da-da-da-da-da. All right. There we go. So it's DDM 2021. And you're going to exercise 4. And I'm just going to put, let's get, it's not a long class, but it's a long activity. That's what's going to happen for today's class. Where is my thing? Okay, here it is.
I want crackers.
So I'm going to put down, please. Download. Exercise file.
Good evening, sir. Are you hearing me?
All right. So I want you guys to download this class files. I'll give you like a couple minutes.
So, all of this?
Yeah. We're only really going to use one right away, but you're going to need the rest. So just download the folder. Come and eat your corn. Okay, you guys ready? Even if you don't have all the files, at least what we need to start is the AutoCAD file. All right?
Why not listen to?
Sir, you said just download the AutoCAD drawing, the working drawings.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go team business.
Yeah, just for now. Just for now, we need that to start. For those of you just coming in, so we need to get the exercise files for today. All right, let's go to the site. How was your crit, by the way?
Okay.
No, sir. No.
A
Sir,
virtual.
some of us
What
are
you say? No
still
one there.
traumatized. Nope. Nope.
Sir, better just make it stay as is, you know?
That means everything is normal. That's how a crit normally goes.
Virtual crit are the worst.
Yeah, they're quite interesting. But whether it's virtual or it's real, I mean, a crit is just only something a fellow CSA student or an architect would truly understand. You know?
Sir,
Yeah.
my laptop fell and now it has a blue screen. What does that mean?
Oh Lord, your laptop fell.
Yep.
That's not good. It fell just a while ago.
No, sir, it fell Monday.
Oh, so it
I was
hasn't
trying
been
to log
working?
on. Huh?
It hasn't been working ever
No,
since?
sir, it has a blue screen.
Oh, you mean the screen is consistently blue?
Yes, sir.
That
A
means
dark blue.
that
It doesn't have any writing. It's
right.
just
That means you have damaged your LCD, which can be fixed, but it's going to take time. You need a technician to replace the screen because they don't stock it locally, so you'd have to order a screen for your. Is it a touch screen?
no, sir.
Oh, thank goodness, it's cheaper. Is it a 15-inch screen?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So it shouldn't be too bad, but it can cost money and some amount of labor, as most things in life. Okay, so Neville, hopefully Neville can help you out, or if you have another technician you normally work with, but one of the two. And I think it will take about 3 weeks for the screen to reach. So you'd have to budget at minimum about a month. At minimum.
If I use customs take long.
Well, I mean, you have to get it from eBay or Amazon, one of those.
Saying once I was the customs, it was over 2 weeks.
Well, everything have to go through customs.
Sad.
So wait, sister, I have to buy a what?
You have to buy a screen. Just talk to Neverman. He will tell you is what. But I'm just telling you the facts real quick, so you're not surprised.
Speak to who?
To the technician, Mr. Campbell. I designated him the class technician, so you can take all computer-related matters to him.
Okay.
All right.
So we must download all those images.
Yeah, all those images. It's pretty small. But everything
All right.
together is like less than 10 megs. Less than 20 megs. Take 2. I forgot to hit the record. So I want to open your minds a bit more as it relates to vector editing programs. Now we know that Photoshop can open images, and we know that it can bring up like all of the pixels in an image. And it allows you to manipulate them. You can erase them and do all sorts of stuff with them, add filters and all of these things. But I want to show you something that you probably knew, but just to highlight something about vector. I don't know if anybody has ever done that happy birthday card where you don't have a large printer, so you print, no, happy birthday sign. You don't have a large printer, so you print every letter on a sheet of paper, right? And then you string them together. You know that happy birthday sign?
That's rich.
So I want to show you to bring up something. I mean, let me just grab. Which one of these bees look nice? That one. So I'm gonna grab this image here, right? And I can always just drop this image on a page. This is Word, right?
Sir,
Yeah?
all the images in the file we're supposed to download?
Yeah, preferably. But we just need the AutoCAD file first. But it's small. Just download everything. Download the whole folder. All right?
Where are we doing this exercise, sir?
In Illustrator.
Okay.
Pro. Now, if you look here at what we have here, this is pixels. I mean, if you zoom in, you can eventually see the pixels that's on the picture. Maybe this one is really high res. Let's try one that's that has a slightly lower resolution, just to kind of illustrate my point. 1000 by 1000. That's a bit high. Yeah, this one is looking pretty cool. B. All right, so if we look at if we zoom in enough, you can see the pixels, so that we know that once it is printed at a certain size, you're going to start seeing the kind of blurriness in this image. And you can kind of start seeing it now, depending on how big you're looking at my screen. But has anybody ever noticed that if you write the letter B, for example, and you just made it really big, and you print that, it will always be sharp no matter what. Similarly, if we use one of these shapes, here, I remember we looked at this example how we can change like the fill color and change the stroke color, change the size of the stroke, also change the, you know, the line of the stroke and all of these things. It's kind of similar to Illustrator, right? So what does that mean? Well, by default, that would mean that even your native programs that are not Adobe products are still using vector technology, right? The fact that you write the letter B on a page and when you print this B, it will be fully sharp. It's not like the image that you download that if you don't have one big enough, it will look blurry. So that would mean that this B is really a type of vector, meaning it doesn't use pixels. Now, I don't know if anybody remember clip art?
Yeah.
Do we still use clip art? We don't really use clip art.
Long time.
Right, but I don't know if you can kind of remember that clip art was very kind of similar, right? To shapes and all of that. It wasn't blurry. If you found a clip art, it usually looked pretty sharp, just the same. But what I want to highlight to you is that the fact that this contains vector information, if you are using a vector program, you can pull out that vector information if you want. So for example, how can we can open this Word file in Illustrator and then be able to grab that information and manipulate it. Because it's vector, right? I mean, if something is made of pixels, you can carry it in Photoshop and you can cut it out and whatever you. So if something is made from vectors, you can do the same. Now, how can we open this Word file in Illustrator? Anybody? Because Illustrator doesn't open Word files. So how can we get it into Illustrator?
Would you have to convert it?
All right, headed in the right direction. We would have to convert it. So if I go to File, what kind of file can I save it as that can open in Illustrator?
PDF.
Exacto mundo. So if I save this as a PDF file, and I'm going to save it to my desktop, let's save it as B. It is, you know, appropriately named B docs. So I save it as B. And if I hop over to Illustrator and I go to File, Open, let me look for that. Here it is. Oops, no, not that. Go again. Open. And on my desktop. Now, right away, you can see the type of files that Illustrator can open. So apart from opening AI files, it also opens Corel Draw. It opens JPEG. Check this out. I just learned this today, that it can even open Microsoft Word files directly. That's crazy because that never used to happen. But the reason I'm showing you PDF is because pretty much every program on the planet you can convert to a PDF, right? So I'm using PDF as the kind of a universal converter. So, oh, as a matter of fact, I don't think I had properly saved it. Right, so I didn't hit save. There we go. So it's open now in Adobe Acrobat. And you can see where I have this B. And here is my other B. Now, of course, if I zoom here, you can see that, whoa, okay, this is pixels, definitely pixels, right? You can see where, you know, I remember we were talking about size of an image in the last class. So that looks pretty sharp. But, you know, if it's right in front of me, of course, it's going to be blurry. But these, if I zoom all the way, it will never be blurry. That means that it's actually vector technology that's working here in the background, even though I'm in Word and I'm not in Illustrator. So certain programs by default use vector to represent certain items. Once it uses vector, you can harness it or take advantage of it using a vector editing program. So for example, now I'm going to go over to Illustrator, and I'm going to open this PDF file here called B, and I'm going to open all pages, and I can choose to open the PDF as links. It's going to open like that by default, so which means that let me put this out of the way. There we go. Those are all my Word pages. You see this X here because it's a linked file, kind of like a smart object. So I'm going to embed it and group it. And if you check this out, Illustrator actually detects it as a letter. So I could change it to A. So right away, the vector program, the PDF preserved the fact that it's text. Now, what about this shape here? Well, let's take a look on that as well. I'm going to embed it as well. I'm going to embed it as well, and I'm going to ungroup it. Right. So if you check this out, I'm able to now manipulate this as if it was drawn in Illustrator. So check this out. I can go for my white arrow, and I can now manipulate this. There we go. There we go. As if it was lines that were drawn in Illustrator itself. Remember, these lines are coming from Word. So I'm just saying this. So I'm just saying this to say that it doesn't matter what program you're using, from it uses the technology of vector, and you can get it in a format that can come into Illustrator. You can further manipulate the work in Illustrator because it's vector. Now, of course, the B is raster, so you can't do anything with it in Illustrator. You can't erase it. You can't cut it out. You can't like add a filter effect. None of those are available to you in Illustrator. But if you want to like cut out the flames in this B, you know where you would go to do that already, right? Everybody with me?
Yes,
So I just want to show you this example so you see that other programs use the vector technology to represent work. And especially in architecture, you guys are going to use programs like AutoCAD and ArchiCAD and Revit and all of these programs. And in its core, in its bowels, let's call it that, is really vector technology that is being used to represent all of these lines. It's just that at its surface, you're really using it as, you know, wall tool and window tool and door tool, but it's really vector that is being manipulated. And if you can get that information over to Illustrator, you can further manipulate it. Now that is exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to grab a AutoCAD file. So if I open AutoCAD here, AutoCAD, yes, I do have it here. And if you look here, there is a, we don't need that anymore. If we look in our file, for you, it will be in your student folder. So if I jump all the way here to DDM and student content, and what exercise are we doing now? We are doing exercise 4, exercise files, and here is the AutoCAD file. So this is our typical AutoCAD file, and some of you may know to use AutoCAD and some may not, but I mean, it's quite obvious that they're using vector technology here. I mean, these are all like lines and, you know, and this is the same sort of stuff in Illustrator. But the interface is definitely not like Illustrator. This is more architectural based. So you're seeing things like wall and door and window. But when you click or modify these things, you're really just modifying a bunch of lines. That means if you can get this into Illustrator, then you can further manipulate those lines, even though they were created in AutoCAD. The same rule holds true for just about any program out there, whether it's Publisher or AutoCAD or Corel Draw, anything that has line work in it, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this line work and then we're going to turn it into work in a work of art. We're going to use some interesting techniques that I'm going to show you guys how you can do that. The first thing though is that we need to take this file and open it in Illustrator. Now we could do the same route that we did where we save it as a PDF. The PDF would preserve all of the vector technology there. And then we would open it in Illustrator. But guess what? Illustrator has given us an advantage here, right? If I go to play, remember the list of files that Illustrator can accept. So Illustrator can actually accept AutoCAD files natively. So you don't need to like convert it to like PDF and then take it into Illustrator. You can actually just carry it straight into Illustrator. At least, you know, like usually it's a couple years back. So for example, if you're using AI 2020, then maybe it will allow you to take in like AutoCAD like 2017 or something like that, right? Anyway, so what we're going to do to get this exercise started is go to new. We're going to go to new. And we're going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to go to print, and this time we're going to use tabloid, right? Since we've been using letter size, let's use a different size. So we're going to use tabloid. We're going to make it landscape, and we're going to create that page. Okay. Now this should not be news to you guys. You already know how to create a new page already. So I have confidence with you in terms of that. Now what we're going to do, first I'm going to introduce you to the artboard tool, which you wouldn't find that in Photoshop, right? Now if you look here, actually here, you will see the artboard tool. That's what it looks like. And when you click it, you will go into what's called artboard mode. So the screen kind of changes a little bit. You get these little dash lines around your artboard. You notice that the title comes up. If you're using an older version of Illustrator, you may not see that, but the newer ones will have the title. And in artboard mode now, you're able to do things like change the size of your artboard. Like this is tabloid and it's landscape. I can change the name and I can change like where it is. So what I want us to do is I want us to create two artboards. So we have one already, and we're going to create another artboard by clicking the create artboard tool icon, which is right here. Remember, you have to be in artboard mode first. And when you're in artboard mode, by the way, you're not able to manipulate whatever is on the artboard, right? You're only able to like edit your artboard. So I'm going to create a new artboard. And oops, notice that now I have two. It created an artboard right beside it. When I'm in artboard mode, I can move my artboard any way that I want, as long as I don't cross the line here. Once you cross the line, it can tell you that you can't do it. So there's a finite space that you have in Illustrator actually for the amount of illustrations you can do. So you can imagine this wouldn't be the ideal program to do, for example, a 1,000 page document, because obviously this couldn't probably fit more than like 100. All right. So there's limited space you have in which to work, but this is a bit of space. I've never finished this amount of space yet. Ironically, you know what? Let me come close to finishing this amount of space. When I was doing the master's in architecture, and you had to do your final thesis presentation. So the amount of sheets that I had actually equal the width of like the extremes in Illustrator. So that was a bit crazy, you know. I almost was fearing that I had to have like 2 Illustrator files in order to print. So that's it. Anyway,
Sir,
yep.
sorry to cut you, but I'm not getting the ribbon that you have.
Right. If you're not getting the ribbon, what happened is that the newer Illustrator is pushing touch interface. So they disable these things by default to encourage you to like use the new touch interface. So you need to enable it.
How do I? Windows?
And turn on control.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you guys are going to create 2 artboards. Then I want you to name those artboards.
Sir, my Illustrator is crashing and I keep reopening it and it keeps saying it's crashing again. I don't know what to do.
Is it giving you an error message?
Yes, sir.
What it's saying?
Oh God, I X off of it, but then it said not responding.
All right, when it opens again, tell me the message what it's saying. I don't know if I can help with that.
Okay, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having troubles finding the control.
Right, so you go to window, and then you see control right here.
Oh, it's on, okay.
Okay. No. Mm-hmm.
My Illustrator isn't opening either. I keep getting an error message saying something about I have to reinstall it.
Oh Lord. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Did you talk to the technician? Did he? Is it the version that the technician pointed you to?
No, I couldn't download that one either. I asked my friend to do it. Okay.
Oh man. All right. Why you couldn't download that one? It's too big?
I don't know what the issue was. It just wasn't downloading.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna ask if he could give you like a Google Drive link. Or is there anybody else in the class that can help out? Anybody have the link? Anybody got it from a technician and the link was working for you?
I have it.
What's that?
I have it.
Okay,
Telegram
good.
I have it
chat.
as well, but I haven't used it as well.
Telegram chat.
Right. Can you send space it to each other then?
Yes, sir. I'll send it in the group. Nothing else.
Right. Okay, now once you have these 2 artboards up, it don't matter where you have them, you can move them anywhere. I want you to name them. And to name them, well, if you have an older Illustrator, you don't have the ability to name, but the newer ones, they do. So I want you to name one of them elevation. And just click, when you're highlighting the artboard, you need to click on the name. If you click on the outside, you will actually be creating new artboards. You understand? But we don't want to be creating new artboards. So you want to click on the name by selecting the little box right there, and then you name it. So we're going to call this one plan.
Come on, food. Come on for food. Gotcha.
Okay, now once you guys have that, now we're going to import the AutoCAD drawing and let's see how that works out for us. So I'm going to go back to my selection tool, the black arrow. Then notice when I'm on this, when I'm in selection mode, I can't click on the pages anymore because I'm not in artboard mode anymore. Right?
Sir,
Yeah?
do the rotation, sir.
I can't hear you too low.
You rotate the sheet.
How you rotate the sheet while you're in artboard mode? It's up here. See portrait or landscape.
All right.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Place, just like in Photoshop, and I'm going to look for that that AutoCAD file that's in your folder. Right? That's the file that named ACAD Working Drawings 2000. And I'm gonna open that. And when you click it, you're gonna get a little message, just choose OK. Then notice it's asking me where I want to place it. So I'm just gonna place it anywhere, it doesn't matter, just click once. Then notice it comes in as a group. Everybody seen that?
So are we supposed to make a second artboard?
Yeah, you're supposed to have 2 artboards.
How did you do
I placed it already on the artboard.
How did I do the artboard? We went into artboard.
Oh, no. That's not what I'm asking.
Go again?
So what if I've already pasted the drawings on the artboard?
It doesn't matter. In Illustrator, it doesn't really operate by where drawings are. You could have the drawing like that. Half of it on the artboard, half of it off the artboard. Doesn't matter. You understand? It's not like Photoshop where it's like tied into a canvas. You know, this is your canvas, this big workspace. It's like a big table and you can move your drawings anywhere. As a matter of fact, that led me to ask you a question.
Sorry, quick question. I'm seeing all the, like, it looks like mine looks like as if it's highlighted. Should it be highlighted?
What, the plans?
Yeah, the drawings.
Yeah, when you carry it, once you click on it, it's going to highlight it. If you click off of it, it's not.
Okay, all right.
Let me ask you guys a question relating to that artboard question. If I had an artboard here, let's say this artboard that I had in this file. Remember this nice flamey bee? If I put that bee here and I printed this artboard, this one right here, let me move it so you can see it. How would it print?
Only half of the bee that they show.
Exactly. So if I go to, now if I go into artboard.
Zoom in, you see the line there, no?
Okay.
So zoom in, you see a black line in the middle of the bee.
Right. So if I put these 2 artboards like this, then technically I should be able to print this. And when a page come out of the printer, I can put them back together, right?
Yeah.
So if I look on the preview of this print here, one of the print is showing me this, and the other print is showing me that. So when I print them and put them together, I can get everything coming together. So that's one of the advantages in Illustrator, because you have the ability to move around your artboard. So for example, I could have like, if I wanted like a very large like bee, I could arrange these 4 sheets of paper and I could like make a very large bee now and I can print it. And I know from confidence that because I organize it in Illustrator, when it's printed, I can put them back together. Everybody see? Yes, so right away, you can kind of stretch your mind to think of those sheets that you do in architecture that you have graphics that is stretching across multiple sheets. You understand? you can use Illustrator to put this kind of thing together. As in the case of this presentation board here. Where's my mouse? Come on, mouse. What's happening? Right. As in the case of this presentation board here. It's a huge presentation board. And look, some of the graphics, like for example, some of these graphics, you can't even necessarily tell where the sheets are drawing. But in Illustrator, you can see exactly where the sheets are. And some of them actually have graphics that's overlapping. But it would be pretty much impossible to tell what would line up how unless you can see everything together like this. Then everything is split into sheets and printed, and then you reassemble them back when you pin up your work. So this is a major tool that, as in this architectural field, you'll definitely use. Okay, so once you import it, notice that this is a type of object called a group. So if I highlight the plans here now, and I look in the upper left corner, notice that it says it's a group. So this upper left corner is going to become very important once you start dealing with a lot of objects. Because sometimes in Illustrator, you have different type of objects. You have text objects, you have line objects, you have blending objects, you have all kinds of objects. And the only way you can know what type of object an object is you will see the little name come up here. So a group is pretty straightforward. A group just means that everything is grouped together. So just to the ease of presentation, I'm just moving this on the sheet so you can kind of see what I mean. Now you can see how Illustrator interpreted the CAD file. Look at these window lines. They're very large. You can barely see the space between the windows. Then the next thing is that it imported it. Well, it did keep the color, but everything is like multicolored. And then of course, the other thing is that it's grouped together. So the plan and the side view are all linked. So the first thing I want us to do is to right click and go to ungroup, and that will break up the group for us. But now it's going to be broken into 1 million pieces, because look, now I can move this out. I can move this one line, I can move this other line, and then everything is individual lines. It's kind of crazy. Even the window lines are individual lines. You can see that because we have ungrouped everything. So I'm just going to undo.
Sorry, sir, I'm not seeing ungroup.
Make sure you right click on the object. In Illustrator, if you click between a line, it's not on an object. You're actually clicking in an empty space. You understand?
Sir, when I'm trying to place the picture, it's crashing. So I don't know if it's the file that's the problem, like trying to open the zipped folder. But can you tell me the name of it so I can just copy it to my documents and see if it will work that way?
All right, I heard you. Give me a minute. Let me tell you. So you said every time you place the image, you said the image a while ago, but you're talking about the drawing, right?
Yes, sir, the drawing. Every time I try to open the folder, the thing just crashes.
Oh, Illustrator just crashes. Why does it do that? I don't know why it's giving you trouble. Why is it giving you trouble?
But I'm asking if you could just tell me the name of it so I could copy it to my documents, the thing itself, so it doesn't do that.
The file is where it go? ACAD working drawings 2000.
The chat. It's in the chat.
All right, it's in the chat. Thanks a lot. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
So So we ungrouped it, and now we see that everything is like broken up into little incy pieces. Even the ballista, even the bottles, or the ballistas rather, are
Wait,
like.
sir, I'm trying to ungroup it, but there's no, is the ungroup option is kind of grayed out.
You sure you're not ungroup it already?
Also, we can't move anything on it, so.
I'm not seeing it at all.
You're not what?
I'm not seeing the ungroup option at all.
Make sure you right click on it, you know. So for example, remember in Illustrator, you have to actually hover over a line and then you right click to see the ungroup option. You can't just right click in a space because it won't know that it's a space.
I'm not seeing the ungroup option either.
Did you place it on your sheet?
Yes, sir, it's on our sheet.
And when you try to, hold on, are you on the?
If you can see my phone,
Is it? Are you using the selection tool, the black arrow?
Yeah, the black one.
Right. And you still not getting it?
No, sir. No, sir.
So, all right, can you highlight the object? Meaning, when you click on the object, everything turns blue?
No, I can't do that either. It just has like this big blue X on it.
Oh.
So I don't know if I can raise it.
Oh no. Okay. All right. You sure you place it, or you drag it into your Illustrator?
Oh, I dragged it.
Exactly. You need to place it.
Oh, okay.
All right. Good.
Okay, that though.
Okay, so when you ungroup and there are little pieces, here's what you're going to do for me. You're going to select everything that has to do with the elevation, all of the elevations, and you're going to move it on the elevation sheet. Or just move it on one of the sheets. And you're going to select everything with the plan, and you're going to just put that in the center of the sheet. Important, you are not going to change the scale, right? Don't change the scale, because, I mean, these are at the same scale now. So naturally, if you make one bigger, it's not going to be at the same scale, right? Architecture student, you guys know that already. I didn't have to tell you that, all right? So we're just going to move them on individual sheets. And here's what we're going to do for this exercise. I'm going to show you how to turn one into a presentation, like the elevation, and then you are going to do the plan on your own. All right? So there are a couple of things. What?
No, move no, sir. Everything ungroup and everything, you just now move.
So are you able to select the individual objects?
Yes, sir, I can select the individual objects.
Okay. Okay. When you're trying to move in Illustrator, you have to click and hold on an actual object. Like if I try to move and I try to click in this space, it's not going to move. I have to select on an actual object like the line and drag it. See?
I moved now.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay, sir, I just place it and I still can't get it to ungroup.
Say again?
I just placed it and it's still not giving me the option to ungroup.
Okay, can you highlight it? What when you highlight it? Everything highlights in blue?
Yeah, well, no, it's still having the blue X across it.
Even though you place it?
Yes, sir, I clicked on place and then I chose the file.
Hold on, are you sure you chose the DWG file? That sounds like you chose the PDF file.
There's a DWG.
Right, this is the DWG you're pasting.
All right, thanks again.
Yeah, man. Okay, now notice that everything is multicolored. So that's the first thing that's wrong with this drawing, right? So I don't know if you've noticed how Illustrator works. If I select this, let's see where, okay, if I select this blue line here, then notice that Illustrator tells me that I have a stroke that is blue. Everybody can see that? And if I change this color, it will change the line. That's pretty straightforward. If I select this black here, it's the same thing. Illustrator will tell me that I have a black line selected. But what if I select both of them? I hold shift and select the other one. What you notice happen? What does it say?
Confused.
Everybody can see this clearly?
Yes, sir.
It's saying question mark, confused.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess you could say that because it select both colors, and it can't show you both colors in this method. So what I want us to do is wait, but of course, if I change the color here, so if I, even though it's saying question mark, if I double click this and I say, well, make everything question mark like blue, notice everything changes now to the blue. It will just override everything. So what I want us to do is I want us to select all the drawings, draw a big box around everything. And then I'm going to use the color panel for this. Remember our color panel that we had open last week? And in our color panel, or if you want, you can even use this. But you know, I want you to practice use the color panel. And I want to change the stroke. So make sure that the stroke is in front of the fill, right? Make sure it's in front. And I want to change everything to black. So now, if you notice the drawing, everything is now black. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Good. We still have a kind of problem though, because everything's still too thick. I mean, if I look on the window lines, everything is quite thick, including these letters here. So before we deal with the thickness, let's deal with the letters. And I want to show you another important trick with Illustrator. Now, if everybody remember your layers panel, right? Let me pull it out so you can see it. So this is my layers panel over here. And I'm just going to close the other panel so you don't get confused. So here's the layers panel. And notice that everything that I have now is on just one layer. Meaning if I open this layer, every line, every letter, every dot, every object is an object under this layer. So what that means, if I switch this layer off, everything will turn off, right? Pretty straightforward. Now, what I want us to do is to put everything that is text on a text layer. So I want to take out all the text, including the ground text here and here. So what we want is a way that we can select only the text objects, right? Now, of course, you could go through this ridiculously long layer list here and find the text and drag it 1 mile up into the new layer, but that's just kind of insane. So I'm going to show you a proper way to do that. So the first thing I want us to do is to create a new layer. So we're going to create a new layer. And so we're going to create a new layer by clicking the plus. And we're going to call this new layer. We're going to call this new layer text. How fitting. Hang on a sec. Okay, guys. So you have created a new layer. And you have called this layer the text layer, right? Now here's the part everybody needs to listen careful. Now what we're going to do is select all the text in our in our scene. And the way how we're going to do that, Illustrator actually has a select menu at the top. So this allows us to select any object or any, so for example, if we wanted to select any line that is red, you could use out of the select menu. In this case, we want to select everything that is text. Yeah, what you said?
Sorry, sir, not you.
Okay, so listen closely. We're going to go to select, object, and we're going to say select all text objects. So that's what everybody needs to do. You need to go to select. This is an important step because you won't be able to go to the next step if you don't put all your text on one layer. So you go to select object and then you select all text objects. All right. Now, once you have that done, rules. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so once you do that, notice now that all the text in your entire Illustrator file has been selected, right? So down to this text here, all of the text in your floor plans, they're all selected. So what you're gonna do now is put them all on the text layer, and this is how you do it. You need to click the text layer, make sure that it's highlighted, and then you're going to right click any one of the text that is selected and go to arrange, send to current layer. Right, so you go to send to current layer. Now, once it is on, once you do that, then you will be able to, then it will go on this layer, and when you switch it off, everything will turn off. All right, everybody saw that?
You said select. You said right click anyone.
Yes, you right click any one of the text. Make sure that you select the text layer first, and then you right click any one of the text objects and choose arrange and send to current layer. Now, with that said, you're going to turn off your text layer for now. We don't need that right now. So we're going to switch it off. So now all we're left with is the drawing. Now that you reach this far, what I want everybody to do is to save, because Illustrator is very unforgiving as it relates to file recovery. All right.
Actually, sir, when mine crashed, I went right back to where I was before.
Right. But you know, it is a hit or a miss. Let's put it that way. So I would
Is
say
the
get it.
7-3?
Say again?
The 7-3?
Yes. No, 4. This is exercise 4.
Say, what's it again? Say, I select the layer, so I'm right now trying to send it to the text layer, and I'm going to shake it, say, I go on.
Okay. Well, let me go over it one more time. So what you need to do, the first thing you need to do is to create you're going to create a new layer, and I call that new layer the text. So that is the text layer. Then what I did is I selected object. I went to object, select object and go all text object. So what it is doing is selecting all the text object in your drawing. Then you'll see all the objects become selected. Then now, make sure that you have your text layer highlighted, and you're going to right click any one of the text that you know have highlighted. Just right click any one of them. You're going to go to arrange, and then you go down to send to current layer. And then it will actually send it to that text layer. Then you're going to switch off your text because we don't need the text right now. Okay? Now the next thing we want to fix is this line thickness. Because right now we have like the window lines are like way too thick. And you know, and the roof lines are like way too small. So we're just going to make everything one universal line weight. So we're going to select everything. And then we're going to go to our stroke panel. Let me bring that one out so you can see it. Let me put back the layers panel because we don't need that right now. So in my stroke panel here, remember this panel from last class? What you're going to do is, because you have every line selected, you're going to go to your stroke panel and you're going to say, I want all of these lines to have a thickness of, and I'm going to put mine at 0.25. Yeah, that's good enough. 0.25 is good. So now notice that you're seeing all your line work nice and neat, right?
Stroke panel.
Say again? The stroke panel under window and stroke.
Okay.
Remember that was the panel we used last class to get all the dash arrows and all of these things, right? Okay.
What size is the stroke?
Pardon me? I'm using 0.25 stroke. All right. Now we have everything as a nice drawing. So you can see our drawing is heading in the right direction. Now all we need to do is to start coloring. So what I'm going to do is to introduce you to a way of coloring using what's called the live paint tool. It's a paint tool that it's a tool in Illustrator that we usually always forget. I get the question every year. You come back to me in about a year time saying, sir, what is that tool name again? I need to do this quick presentation and I don't remember it. And I always reply and say, Oh, that means you haven't been using it. Oh, well. So it's called a live paint tool. And how it works, it kind of turns it into, anybody ever use Photoshop to like use the paint bucket tool? But if you have used Photoshop, you realize that the paint bucket tool isn't that, what's the word? Neat. It isn't so neat at times, because when you fill with the paint bucket, it leave over some white spaces and all of these things. But the paint bucket tool in Illustrator is precise because you don't have pixels, all you have is line work. So it really makes a world of a difference. So in order to use our paint bucket to start filling our elevation with color, you need to turn the entire drawing into what's called a live paint group. So this is another one of those key steps. And don't worry if you miss it. I'm going to post this video. I'm going to post this video instead of the video in the morning, because the second time around is always, a bit more efficient, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this object here into a live paint group. And I'm also going to turn this object here into a live paint group. Now to do that, select your plan, go to Object, then you're going to go to Live Paint and go to Make. Then I'm going to repeat the process again. I'm going to select all of the elevation. I'm going to go to Object. I'm going to go down to Live Paint, and I'm going to choose Make. So now we have everything here in a live paint group. Now, how you know it's a live paint group is that when you click on it, well, it will say group here. Some of you will say live, depending on the version that you have. But if you notice the kind of handles that it have, it's like it has this little star inside. It's not like a regular object that you select. But anyway, it acts like a group. Now, the main difference with this now is that you are now able, and if I go for my...
Sir, what happens when the make option is grayed out?
If it's grayed out, that means you are selecting an object that cannot become a live paint group. So text cannot become a live paint group. So that's why we turned off the text layer.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure that that layer is off before you make the group. Now, the cool thing about the live paint group is that now I can actually just use my live paint bucket. I'll show you how that works in a bit, and I can select a color and I can just fill. And if you've ever used Photoshop to fill an object, you realize that this fill is way more accurate. Like if you look, because it's all vector and lines, everything is like pristinely filled. You understand? So whenever you print this and as a sheet, you get some very nice crisp lines with solid color, which is very different than Photoshop if you try to use the paint bucket tool. Now, I don't want you to start filling your building just yet. I just did that to kind of show you how it works. And you're probably saying, where in the world is the paint bucket tool? If you're using the newest version of Illustrator, they have removed it. For God, he knows why, but they have removed it from the typical tools list. And to access it, you need to actually go to these three dots here. And you just kind of scroll until you reach the paint category. Here it is, paint. And here it is, live paint bucket, which shortcut is K.
Same thing you do with Photoshop.
Right, same thing you do with Photoshop. Now, the thing is, I want to spend this little time to segue into a very important point I'm about to say. I'm going to only say it once though, right? because it's long and odious to re-explain, and you guys have a video you can check. All right. At this point, we're pretty much almost at the end of the talking part where I show you guys what to do, because you're pretty much just going to color this now and then you're done. But I will be looking out for how you choose to color it, right? Meaning, am I going to see like some shocking color pink walls and some multicolored rainbow windows? And I'm just saying, I've gotten really wacky things in the past, right? No, really and truly, you guys already did color theory with Miss West Martin already. So when I say words like analogous colors and complementary colors and what's some, there's a couple more. You guys should know what I'm talking about. And some of you would be like, oh, that I don't remember a thing. But I want to point out to you a tip for life that to this day I use, and I call it a secret weapon. And I hope that you use this secret weapon to do this exercise, but I also hope that you take it with you for life. And it has to do with selecting color, right? I mean, there are so many colors out there, and there's a lot of things, there's a lot of actions or a lot of activities that you guys have to do as it relates to selecting color. If you're going out and you choose a shoes, you know, you're going to choose an appropriate pants or a hat or a blouse. It could be a design that you're working on, and then you need to apply colors to the walls. It could be a rendering. It could be a presentation you're doing and you're trying to determine what color should I use on the sheet. It could be an elevation that you're coloring for your DDM exercise and you're trying to determine what color do I make the walls and the windows and the roof and all that stuff. And I mean, some of you might have an idea what you want to do. Others might just kind of randomly just say, I'll just pick green and pick light green, and you just kind of play around. But I want to point you in a method of selecting color that that helps me out a lot to this day. And it is using Illustrator as a tool. And this method I'm showing you, as far as I know, can only be done with Illustrator. Photoshop has some of these things, but it doesn't have it in the way that Illustrator has it. Now, people who use Illustrator, and I would argue that mainly graphic designers use Illustrator, persons who do like logos and illustrations. And I don't know if any of you remember Clara. Remember Clara, which is like a competition to Digicel? Anybody remember what is the company color of Clara?
Red,
sir.
Exactly. But it was a different red than the Digicel red, don't?
Yeah, it was like a lighter red, I think.
Exactly.
Based
Now,
off of my TV.
well,
Same color.
but how important do you think it is for the $1 million company that when an ad goes out, persons know that that is Digicel and not Clara, or it's Clara and not Digicel? You want to make sure you get those shades of red correctly, especially if you're the person that them hire to do something. So I'm just saying this to give the example that selecting color for some people is like a science. Like if you're doing an ad for Digicel, they're going to give you the RGBs or CMYK values. They're going to say, you're going to use green 23, blue 24, and they're going to give you these specifications. So there are some persons that have color down to the science. And what I want to show you guys is if you have a blank canvas in front of you, or you have a closet in front of you, or you're at the spray shop with your car that you're about to spend $200,000 to respray and you want to know what colors to choose, then you're at that point where you want to make a decision, what colors go well together. That's the question that you normally would ask yourself. And for most of us, we might not remember what Miss West Martin told me, right? Unfortunately. But have no fear, there is a solution. Now, I want to point you to a part in Illustrator called swatches, and we kind of use this already. In exercise 3. So I'm going to take out the swatches panel, and I'm going to take out the color guide panel, and I'll just minimize everything else because I want to show you about these two panels. Let's carry this over here. Good. So swatches and color guide. Now, if you're at a blank canvas, let's say you have this building here and you want to determine what color to put on it. Well, where I would start is I would start with a theme, which is similar to what you guys do in design. Let's say if you were doing an office building, you might say, okay, what colors are good for office? And then you might start thinking, okay, what are corporate colors? What are business colors? What, if you're doing something for a restaurant, you might say, okay, what's a restaurant color? Or maybe you want to choose your own theme, like I want to do this office in a tropical theme. And you might start asking yourself, okay, what are tropical colors? So usually the designer kind of go through this process at the beginning where you're trying to determine somewhere to start. Now, I want to point a method to you that, let's say at minimum, you only have a theme that you're going with. Illustrator has these themes that are built in, and we kind of got exposed to a little bit of it when we looked at patterns, but I want to look at mainly the colors. And this doesn't really have a whole bunch of themes, but they have related themes. So for example, I'm coloring this building. What color should I make it? I don't know. Okay, start with some kind of concept or theme. You might say, well, I love earth tone colors, so let's go with earth tone. Or you might say, no, it's going to be by the beach, so I want something that is beachy. Now, you might not see beach there, but then you might see something like, what is close to beach?
Nature.
Nature, okay. Oh, look, beach is here. Wow, okay, see, I have to try hard to make it harder. But what I'm trying to say is that chances are, whatever you come up with in your mind, there is a similar theme that Illustrator already has prepared for you. So let's say I wanted to go with the beach theme then. All right, so I click that, and right away I am presented with a bunch of beach colors, quote unquote beach. So what I suggest you do at this point is just pick one color that you like, because you might be looking at this now and you're now inundated with colors. You're like, oh crap, okay, all these colors have to do with beach. Which one do I pick? And what I would say is just pick one that you like. So for example, I would say, all right, I like this pinky yellowy color here. And that's where you start. Now watch carefully. You don't have to do this for the exercise, so I'm only going to show you this once. It's up to you to remember it, or in this case, go back and watch the video, right? You guys are so lucky. But anyway, now what I would do is, on my swatches panel, I will build a new color group. And I could just call this color group, elevation, whatever. And you get a new folder right here. And what I want to do from this point is when I click this pink, it's going to highlight it up here, and I'm going to drag it down to this folder. So if I am trying to work out what colors I want to make this elevation drawing, and I at least identify one color that I like, and it is this pinky color, then I'm going to turn next to my color guide. And this is the most amazing part. On the color guide, this pink color that I've selected here, if I click this drop down arrow, it's going to show me all of the color theories ever invented that goes with this pink color. So let's say, for example, complementary colors. Well, here it is. You have two options for complementary colors. You have where you can choose one or a bunch. Split complementary, left complement, analogous, monochromatic, triad. Anybody remember any of these color theories or color harmonies, they call it? What color harmonies do for you is that even if you're totally oblivious or you don't remember nothing what Miss West Martin teach, any color that, any row that you choose are colors that are scientifically, or should I say, psychologically guaranteed to go together. You follow me? So when you choose this pink color, make it too loud. When you choose this pink color and you go, for example, triad, then by default, all of these colors work with this color that you like. You don't have to second guess it. Illustrator has already picked it out for you. If you are a monochromatic person, well, then all I need to do is go to monochromatic colors. And look, Illustrator has already picked out all of the monochromatic colors based on this one color that you chose that you like. Now, not only has Illustrator picked out colors for you, but it also has picked out 5 shades per color. So maybe you like, so out of this, you're going to pick some colors that you like. No. So you say, okay, these are all the colors that go with this pink color. Okay, let me choose the brown. I like that. I'm going to add it there. As a matter of fact, I like all of these. So I'm just going to add all of them. Maybe I don't like this dark one because I have a dark one already, and I say I like this one. So right away, just by me knowing a theme, picking one color, I now have 4 colors that go together with that first color that I've picked. And I have done this using the color guide. So imagine you can use this. I mean, if you want to spray your hair 3 colors, it's the same theory. You can just open up Illustrator and just pick some colors that go together. Even if you have no opinion about color whatsoever, or even if you were colorblind, Illustrator has already picked out some colors for you that are scientifically proven to work together without you breaking a sweat, if you understand what I mean. So this is an extremely useful tool, especially in this design field. Many times I've done renderings and I've asked the client, what color you want to make inside the house? They don't know. But I can ask them, what do you like? And they say, oh, you know, I like earth tone colors. That's all I need. Run to Illustrator, pick one. Or I can just pick one that they like. And all they need to give me is one color. And Illustrator will give me the rest, whether I'm going with complementary, monochromatic, or whatever. So this is what I'm hoping you guys will use to determine the color that you'll use to color the building. Hence why part of this exercise, I'm looking for your color selection, right? I already know that I won't see any weird and wacky colors because I'm expecting you to approach the selection of colors with a certain science behind it, okay? Okay, so now what I've done is I have this bunch of colors working with, so I can decide that, okay, maybe I want this color for the wall. So I'm gonna go to my paint bucket tool and I'm gonna fill the wall with these colors. Everybody see that? And the paint bucket tool, once I hover, it will just show you whatever space is highlighted. Now here's another thing I'll be looking out for. You guys did first year already where you learned about shades and shadows. When this wall bends a corner, then chances are this pink color will be a shade darker. Everybody agree? Because it's bending a corner, right? Well, the great news is that because your color guide, if you notice your color guide gives you 5 shades darker and 5 shades brighter. So all I need to do is to just drop down by 1 shade here. And that's what I'll make this color. So by default,
So are we supposed to be working on the elevation right now, or are you just demonstrating?
Well, remember you have everything. The answer to that is yes. Meaning, at this point, I'm not doing stuff for you to follow me, you know. You already know the paint bucket tool and you already know where your swatches are. So you just need to like just paint. But what I've done is just I've explained a method or a approach that you can use in selecting your colors. If you already have the ability to work out the colors in your head and pick the colors, then fine. You don't have to do nothing what I just showed you. That was just demonstrating or giving you a tip for life. At this point, yes, you are to work on the elevation and the plan. And at this point, what you would do now is start filling in the different colors. But I expect you to fill in the colors reasonably. Like, don't give me like a purple wall with a burnt orange balcony and then a magenta roof, I'm saying. Everybody understand? You understand where I'm going?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I just gave you another tip as it relates to like when you fill in the colors for like corners or angles, you want to get them at a lighter shade, a darker shade, just like if you're shading. Oh, right. I want to also point out these. Notice that there are some errors. When you import it, the drawing from AutoCAD, they came in with some of these lines going through it, which is obviously not, you know, it's not a part of the stone thing here, but it is going to cause problem when you use the fill tool, because you can see how, for example, it's filling like half of this stone as different colors. So remember, the white arrow, the direct selection tool, allows you to select the makeup of the line. So what I would expect you to do is to select this line here, hit delete. It doesn't matter that it's part of a live paint group. Once you use the white arrow, you're able to select any object inside of any group. So these little errors here, I expect you to just select it and delete it. Remember, you can't use the black arrow. What will happen if you click on it with the black arrow?
You delete everything.
Delete the whole group.
Right, it's going to select the whole thing. Good. And I'm going to delete this line here. Okay. So for example, like check out this stone. I mean, you could really get crazy with this stone. I could choose like a gray and go for my paint bucket tool, which is shortcut is what, K, right? And I could fill some of this with this gray. And then I could choose like a shade lighter and fill the other ones with a slightly lighter gray. So I get this nice variation, and then I can fill the background with like a lighter gray. So you can kind of see how you can make a drawing start to look nice. Let's talk about the roof. Like the roof, for example, I mean, let's say you go with a brown kind of color. You know, you have your color guide here, you have your theme here. I mean, anything you want with color, Illustrator has it all. So let's say I want to go with this lightish kind of brown roof here. Now notice, if you notice for the roof, you might be saying, oh man, I have to click every single shingle. That's insane. But you can actually click and drag. See that? Like you're painting. Thank goodness that I did that. And I don't think I'm using a version that I don't do it. But even better, I can even like pick like a slightly darker shade. And then I can get like two different color, slightly color shingles. You see that? So I mean, there's a lot that you can kind of do with this fill tool. So you use your imagination, you know, and color it however you want. Just know that I'll be looking out for how you color it. All right. I mean, windows, you could go with like, I could pick one of this nice light blue window. Maybe I could go a shade lighter for the top. You know what I mean? It's looking nice. Check this out. Maybe I could go like a shade lighter for these. Does that make a difference? Nah, not really. But you get the idea. You can play around with it as much as you want in terms of color. So all you're really doing now is fill in these. And it becomes, you know, it's not a hard task to do, but I just want you to give thought to how you fill it in. You know, don't just fill it in with like gray and call it done. All right. Oh, how could I forget? Even though you probably know this already, if you notice the folder that you were given, has these PNG files there. So for example, I gave you a nice Hyundai free, right? Always giving away free stuff, right? Free money, computer, everything.
That was very nice.
So I expect you to put some entourage in there. I expect you to like use the layers. You know, maybe you want to put this on a car layer or something. I gave you some trees, but I mean, chances are you'll find nicer trees in Google. But you know, you pick how you want to use entourage. But pretty much that is it, or at least that's the beginning of it. And then this I expect you to do all on your own, which is the floor plan. You're going to do all on your own. So you're going to use the paint bucket tool. You're going to fill like the ground, fill the walls. You could fill the walls with black or whatever. I gave you some furniture. I expect you to place it. And then you're going to send these two to me. You're going to send this to me as a PDF. All right? Just like the last one. And this would be the last of Illustrator. So next practical class, we're going to SketchUp. So we would have come out of the world of 2D,
Sure.
gone into the world of 3D.
Sure.
Yeah?
About the SketchUp thing, right, sir? Like I talked to the technician, sir, and him sent a file, but not to work. Isn't it?
Well, remember that SketchUp is...
It's free online, I can download it.
Yeah, but there is a feature that not in the free one. In the free one, I don't think you can save your drawing as a PNG file. When you save your drawing, you're going to have the white background, so it's going to give you more work when you reach in Photoshop to cut it out, like you had to do the car.
Yeah.
So, but it's not for the exercise. You can use any version. You can use the free version.
All right.
Yeah.
Sir,
yeah.
my question is, I don't want to stop you. When there switches and you go into the specific themes, what do you press on the switches tab to
What you call
open?
switches?
Sorry, swatches.
Swatches. Oh, okay. What do you press to do what?
Open the specific ones, like the beach tab.
Oh, so you go to...
I want monochrome. Where do I go?
Remember, monochrome is the color harmony. So you need to pick the color first, and then you pick the harmony for the color.
That one more time, please. We can see what you press.
So when you go to the switches, that's interesting. But when you go to the swatches, you're going to go to this little icon here, which carries you to the swatch library. You're going to pick a category. So I have fruits. Let's choose ice cream. Once you do that, it will open up. Here it is. It opens up a theme color for you. And then you pick one. And notice every time I pick a color, your color guide changes. You see that? So once I pick a color, your color guide here, you will pick one of these color harmonies. Okay?
Thank you.
No problem. No, some of you kind of know this stuff already, because some of you might be good with color, so you already, when you pick a color, you know what color goes with it, no problem. But this is kind of like a scientific approach, like almost a scientific, where you can use Illustrator to help you choose color. All right.
So we should send it to you as a PDF, right?
Yep, as a PDF. So as I was saying, that this class isn't long in terms of the talking, but it's just long in terms of the doing, right?
You still want us by midnight, sir?
Why? It don't look possible?
It is. I don't know. I'm gonna say something wrong, but I'm asking.
Well, I mean, I know this group is at a slight disadvantage, but I call it an advantage because you get it done quicker. The other group have time to procrastinate, and that's bad.
All right,
So that's how you look on it. But they got like what, 3-4 hours head start,
Okay.
and they started half of it in the class.
Well, tell you what, you guys can give me tomorrow. I'm not going to complain. You can. Of course, you're going to wait till tomorrow night to
No, man.
again.
Better to 11:59 tomorrow.
Wow.
By 11:59, you get it, man. Some of us,
Reasonable.
so, you know, Buffy.
But I'm only
Reasonable.
late with this because I know that it's already night when I leave you guys. So, you know. But as I said,
11:59.
Advantage. But I know this exercise is a little long. I mean, you might want, some people pick specific furniture. Some people don't like the furniture that I give them and then go online and find nice furniture. You can all do that. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not looking out for my furniture. The main items I'm looking for in this is your color, is how you choose your color. All right, so that's going to be important. And just how you arrange everything, you know. This is a part of being in architecture. So things like scale, when persons put in a couch or a car, it's like a gigantic car. So I'm looking out for how you scale the different entourage items when you put it in. All right. So that's pretty much it for this class, and that is it for Illustrator. I think what I've tried to do is to give you all of the things that I think you will definitely need. Don't forget about it. A lot of people fall in love with Photoshop and forget Illustrator. But remember that tip that I showed you today, that Illustrator, once it's vector, Illustrator can manipulate it. There are cases where I have gotten, you know, when you have those online books or online PDFs, think about it. If you have a PDF with a drawing in it, you could actually carry that PDF in Illustrator and extract that drawing and even recolor it, because Illustrator will read the vector lines. So think about what you can do with that kind of technology as it relates to line and line work. All right. And don't forget about it. Always try to incorporate it if it is necessary. So next class, we're going to continue with vectors, but we're going to deal with, let's call it three-dimensional vectors now. So it won't be vectors on a page. It will be vectors that go vertical on the z-axis. Don't forget, I gave you guys a question for the lecture class, right? Remember that question I posed to you about a client wanted to take a picture for them and then ask you what camera should they buy? So you're supposed to recommend the camera.
Where is that question, sir?
It is in the lecture notes when we did it last lecture session. So you're going to look under week 4. So you go, yeah, week 4. This is week 5. So week 4.
Okay.
All right. So I'm basically asking you, which camera would you buy to take that picture? You're supposed to recommend a camera that's not too expensive, like overkill, but you're supposed to also recommend one that works, and you never buy one that's too cheap and it can't take the picture and not be blurry. That is the key thing, for it not to be blurry. So for the next lecture class, we will continue to talk about blurry pictures and all of this jazz. So
Sir, what would you call expensive for a camera?
Oh Lord, that's that question. That so depends, big time. I would say for a CSA student, if you buy a camera can easily last you throughout CSA and beyond. Any good camera is going to cost you more than, it's going to be like laptop money. So you're talking about $700, $600, $500 for a SLR camera or a DSLR camera.
So you're giving us $700 to purchase a camera, and you gave us
No,
$700 to
no,
purchase a laptop.
Can you
Alright,
believe it?
it's cool.
But this time around, I'm not giving you the money to purchase the camera. This time around, I'm saying to you, you have a big client, and the client asks you what camera. I'm giving you a job, and the client say, "What camera should I buy?" And tell you, "Don't make me waste my money." Follow me? Cool.
Get you.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So you don't need to buy an overly expensive camera, but at the same time, you don't want to buy a camera that can't do the work that the client hire you to do. Okay? So look on the size of the picture. I think what I posed was, let me bring it up in case you don't remember. You can share it with you can snip a picture and put it in the WhatsApp or something, so you guys don't forget about it. Where would I have it now? It's here. If you go on the website, and it is week 4, it's supposed to be. Vector understanding image size, right? That is the PDF that you're looking on. So it's on the unit 1. Remember this one? And oh crap, where's the question? Question is not here actually. It's a good thing you asked me. It's not a part of the slide presentation. It's actually a part of just my lecture presentation. So let me drop it in this folder for you. I'm going to take a picture and drop it in this folder. Image size. Here we go. Here was a question. Real world scenario. So I'm going to grab this picture here, and I'm going to save it, and I'm going to call it real world scenario. And I'm going to stick it right in this folder here. Good. So now you might need to refresh your just refresh your website. So go to DDM 2021, and it should pop in right there. Here it is. So here, that's it there. So this is what you're going to look on. So you're trying to print a poster that's 24 by 36 inch, and he's asking you which one of these cameras should he buy. Camera A, B, C, or D. He tell you don't make him waste your money. And I give you a hint here of the formulas that we looked on. Right? How do you know if the resolution can give you the real height? So think about it, and we'll discuss it the next class. If you don't know how to work it out, I mean, that's fine, but I want you to at least try. All right? Because this kind of stuff will happen to you. You saw with the whole computer task that in real life, it's hard to get money. Money is hard to come by. So it would not be nice to know that you spend your money and got something that couldn't do the work, or you buy something that's way too expensive and you will never use. All right, so that is where I leave you this week. I will post the video within the hour. It should be up, hopefully. It wasn't very long, so it should upload fairly quickly. And stay safe. I'll see you on Monday. All right?
For you too.
All right. Take it easy. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Oh, sir, so that's it.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, all right, because my Wi-Fi blew a while ago, so.
All right.
Yeah. All right, thanks much, sir. Have a nice evening.
Mm-hmm.